Hi, I'm Melody. I never planned on being a mom, especially not at 25 when I was just getting my graphic design business off the ground. But life has its own plans sometimes. It was a rainy Tuesday evening when I heard crying outside my apartment door. Not arguing neighbor crying, but the unmistakable wail of a baby. I opened the door expecting to find a frazzled parent in the hallway. Hello? Anyone there? Nothing but more crying. That's when I saw the basket. A freaking basket with a baby inside, like something out of a movie. A tiny boy, maybe 3 months old, red-faced and screaming. I brought him inside and called 911 immediately. There's a note, I told the dispatcher while trying to rock the screaming infant. It just says, his name is Noah. Please take care of him. The police and social services came. They took statements, searched for surveillance footage, asked if I knew anyone in the building who'd been pregnant. Nothing led anywhere. We'll need to place him in emergency foster care, the social worker said. I surprised myself with my response. Can I keep him until you find his parents? I have a spare room. After background checks and a home inspection, they agreed. Temporary custody, they called it. Days turned into weeks. I learned about formula and diapers. I bought a crib. Noah stopped being the baby and became mine. Any updates on the search? I'd ask Diane, my best friend who worked at the courthouse. Nothing yet. But Melody, are you sure you know what you're getting into? I'd look at Noah's little face as he slept and just know. After 6 months, the social worker, Miss Jenkins, visited with news. No one has come forward. We need to discuss permanent placement. My heart stopped. I want to adopt him. The process wasn't easy for a single woman with a home business. But I fought. Diane helped with the paperwork. My parents, though initially shocked, provided character references. You understand this is permanent? The judge asked at the final hearing. You'll be his legal mother in every sense. He already is my son in every way that matters, I answered. Life settled into a new normal. I redesigned my home office to accommodate toys. Noah grew from a baby to a toddler to a little boy with an infectious laugh and curious mind. Mom, how come I don't have a dad? He asked when he was 7. Families come in all shapes, kiddo. Ours is just you and me. The years flew by. Noah excelled in school, joined the swim team, grew taller than me by 14. We were a team, navigating life together. Then, 3 days after Noah's 17th birthday, the doorbell rang. Can I help you? I asked the well-dressed couple on our doorstep. I'm Victoria, and this is my husband, Richard, the woman said, her eyes fixed on Noah standing behind me. We've been looking for our son for a very long time. Noah stepped forward. What are you talking about? You're our child, Richard said firmly, and we've come to take you home. I felt Noah stiffen beside me. The couple stood expectantly on our doorstep, their smiles not quite reaching their eyes. You must be mistaken. I adopted Noah legally when he was abandoned as an infant. Victoria dabbed at invisible tears. Abandoned? Is that what they told you? Our precious baby was taken from us. We've been searching for 17 years. Noah's voice cracked. Taken? What do you mean taken? I pulled Noah back slightly. Come inside. We need to discuss this properly. In our living room, Richard pulled out a folder of documents. We have proof. Birth certificate, baby photos, even the police report we filed. The birth certificate looked real enough, but something felt off. Noah reached for the baby photos. That's me? Of course it is, sweetie, Victoria cooed. You have your father's eyes. I examined the police report. This says you reported him missing from your home in Seattle, but I found Noah here in Chicago. Richard leaned forward. We believe our nanny took him. We fired her the week before. The police thought she might have sold him. That's insane. Why come forward now after 17 years? Victoria reached for Noah's hand. We never stopped looking. We hired private investigators, posted on missing children's sites. A facial recognition hit on your social media finally led us here. Over the next week, Victoria and Richard became fixtures in our lives. They rented an Airbnb nearby and invited Noah for dinner. I don't know what to think, Mom. Noah said after returning from his third dinner with them. They know things about me, like how I'm allergic to strawberries. That's genetic, right? It could be coincidence. Don't you think it's strange they show up right before your 18th birthday? What's my birthday got to do with anything? I hadn't told Noah about the trust fund my grandmother had set up for him. It would be accessible when he turned 18. Nearly $200,000 for college and a start in life. Nothing, honey. I'm just suspicious of their timing. Noah started spending more time with Victoria and Richard. They took him shopping, to baseball games, introduced him to distant relatives. They want to take me to Seattle next weekend, Noah announced over breakfast. To see where I was born? Absolutely not. You barely know these people. They're not these people. They're my biological parents. Why are you being so difficult about this? It's like you're jealous or something. His words stung. I'm concerned, not jealous. This is all happening so fast. Well, I'm going. I already said yes. That evening, I called Diane in a panic. Something's not right. Their story has holes. The timing is too convenient. Did you do any background checks on them? Not yet. That's why I called you. I'll see what I can dig up at the courthouse. In the meantime, keep your eyes open. The next day, I dropped by their Airbnb with the excuse of bringing Noah's medication. As I approached the door, I heard Victoria and Richard arguing inside. We need to speed this up. The money becomes available when he turns 18, and that's less than a month away. I'm working on it. The kid's practically eating out of my hand already. One more week and he'll be ready to sign whatever we put in front of him. He better. We didn't track down this golden goose just to lose the payout. Find out how much is in that trust fund. I backed away slowly, my heart pounding. It was never about finding their long-lost son. It was about the money. Noah's money. I raced home and called Diane. They're after his trust fund. I just heard them talking about it. Meet me at my office. I found dirt on our new friends. At the courthouse, Diane showed me several files. Victoria and Richard have been sued for fraud 3 times. They settled each case, filed for bankruptcy 4 years ago, but now they're living large. This isn't enough to convince Noah. There's a brother, Trevor Matthews, lives here in Chicago. We found Trevor working at a downtown bar. Victoria's my half-sister, he confirmed. Haven't spoken to her in years, not since the baby incident. Baby incident? She got pregnant young. She and her boyfriend were broke. She disappeared one day, came back without the baby. Said she took care of it. She abandoned him in my apartment building. Sounds like her. Let me guess, money involved? I nodded. Classic Victoria, always looking for the easy score. Diane later found 3 other families approached with similar stories of lost children. That evening, Noah dropped a bombshell. They want me to meet their lawyer tomorrow. Something about establishing my legal identity before we go to Seattle. They're rushing you. Don't you think that's strange? They've waited 17 years. They're excited. The baby in their photos has a birthmark on his right arm. You don't have that birthmark. Noah paused. I didn't notice that. And they said you were taken from Seattle but mentioned you were born in San Diego? The timeline doesn't add up. Doubt crossed his face. Later, Diane texted, Richard has used 3 different identities in 10 years. Has an outstanding warrant in Nevada for check fraud. I called Trevor, who agreed to help. Then I contacted their lawyer, a paralegal with a suspended license, who switched sides when I mentioned accessory charges. The next morning, I planted a fake document in my office. Details about Noah's trust fund with an inflated value. I installed a recording device under my desk. They're pressuring him to sign emancipation papers, I told Diane. Once he turns 18, they'll drain his account. Are you sure this will work? It has to. I'm not losing my son. I reviewed the plan. Victoria and Richard would come by to pick up birth certificates while Noah was at swim practice. Trevor would arrive later, positioned to catch them red-handed. The paralegal had provided signed statements about their scheme. What if Noah doesn't believe us even after this? He will, I said, more confidently than I felt. The truth always comes out. I checked the recording device one last time. and placed the fake trust fund documents prominently on my desk. My phone buzzed. Victoria and Richard would arrive in 15 minutes. Time to end their scheme once and for all. The doorbell rang exactly on time. I took a deep breath and opened the door. "Thanks for coming by," I said, forcing a smile. "Noah's at practice, but I've pulled the documents you asked for." Victoria looked around eagerly. "We appreciate it. This will make everything so much smoother with our attorney." I led them to my home office, deliberately leaving the door to the hall closet slightly ajar. Trevor was hidden inside, recording everything. "Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water?" "Let's just get the paperwork," Richard said impatiently. "We have a busy day ahead." I handed them a folder with Noah's basic information, making sure the fake trust fund document was visible on my desk. "So, what exactly does your lawyer need?" I asked innocently. Victoria glanced at the papers on my desk. "Just confirming legal guardianship details for the transfer back to us." "Transfer? Noah is 17. He'd need to be emancipated first." Richard waved dismissively. "That's being handled. He's signing papers tomorrow." While they flipped through the folder, I saw Victoria's eyes keep darting to my desk. She suddenly stood up. "Mind if I use your bathroom? Down the hall to the left." As soon as she left, Richard moved toward my desk. "Interesting paperwork you have here," he said, picking up the trust fund document. $250,000? That's quite a nest egg. "It's for Noah's college." He photographed it with his phone. "College is overrated." The bathroom door opened, but instead of Victoria returning, Noah walked into the office. He was supposed to be at swim practice. "Mom? What's going on?" Before I could answer, Victoria emerged from my bedroom, not the bathroom. "Noah, sweetheart, your mother was just helping us with some paperwork." Noah looked confused. "Why were you in my mom's bedroom?" "Just got turned around," she laughed nervously. Richard quickly pocketed his phone. "We should go. We'll call you about Seattle." "Actually," I stepped between them and the door, "I think we should clear some things up first." I pressed play on my phone. Victoria and Richard's earlier conversation about the golden goose and payout filled the room. Noah's face drained of color. "What is this?" The closet door opened and Trevor stepped out. "Hello, Victoria. Long time no see." "Trevor? What are you doing here?" Victoria backed away. "Telling the truth for once. About how you abandoned your baby 17 years ago because you couldn't be bothered with being a mother." "That's a lie," she sputtered. "I drove you to that apartment building," Trevor continued. "You said you were leaving him somewhere he'd be found quickly. You even joked about it afterward." Richard grabbed Victoria's arm. "We need to leave. Now." "You're not going anywhere," I said as the doorbell rang. "That's Detective Martinez. We filed a police report this morning. Harassment, attempted fraud, identity theft." Noah looked devastated. "Everything was a lie? You really abandoned me?" Victoria sneered. "Fine, you were a mistake. We couldn't afford a baby. But when we heard about your trust fund—" "My what?" "The money your grandmother left you," I explained gently. "They somehow found out about it." Detective Martinez entered with another officer. "Victoria and Richard Harmon? We have some questions about an outstanding warrant in Nevada." As they were being handcuffed, Noah turned to me, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I almost believed them." I pulled him into a hug. "It's okay. They were convincing." After the police left with Victoria and Richard, Trevor stayed for dinner. He shared stories about Victoria's childhood, helping Noah understand. "Biology doesn't make a mother," Trevor said. "What Melody did, choosing you, fighting for you, that's what makes a parent." Later that night, Noah sat beside me on the couch. "What happens now?" "They'll face charges. Trevor's testimony and the recordings are pretty damning." "I mean, with us." I squeezed his hand. "Nothing changes. You're my son. You always have been." "Even when I was awful to you?" "Especially then. That's what real parents do. We stay." He leaned his head on my shoulder. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too, Noah. Always have." Always will. Is blood relation ever more important than the person who actually raised you? If Victoria and Richard had genuinely wanted to reconnect, not for money, but for relationship, should Noah have given them a chance? Or does abandoning a child mean permanently forfeiting any right to be in their life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done in Noah or Melody's position? If you enjoyed this story of justice and family bonds, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more stories like this one. Each like and subscription helps our channel grow, and I'd love to hear your own experiences with chosen family versus blood relations.